20-year-old son of a federal judge was shot and killed by an individual who was dressed up as a FedEx worker. Her husband was also shot, but luckily remains in stable condition in the hospital. But the 20-year-old son of Judge Esther Salas unfortunately did not make it, and there were many questions about what the motive was behind the shooting, who the suspect was. And since this judge was assigned to hear the case involving Deutsche Bank and the unsavory clients it had, including Jeffrey Epstein, there was a lot of speculation about what motivated the perpetrator here. Now, authorities named a suspect pretty soon after this story broke. We were skeptical, but now we're learning more about who this suspect is, and you can judge for yourselves. His name is Den Hollander. He was found about 2 hours away from where the shooting happened with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. So he took his own life. He was 72 and was discovered by a cleaning crew in the upstate New York town of Rockland. He had with him a package that was addressed to US District Judge Esther Salas. So that is an important piece of evidence because remember, the perpetrator was dressed as a FedEx worker, and this might have been some fake package that he was trying to deliver to her. So the FBI of Newark, New Jersey confirmed that Den Hollander is the suspect of this ambush. His death was discovered by 2 Sullivan County Department of Public Work employees. When they finished work, they saw the car parked on the shoulder of the road and found Hollander on the passenger side with the gunshot wound to his head. Inside was a .38 caliber pistol and the FedEx package, which investigators believe the lawyer may have intended to use to get face-to-face with the judge. The package also contained papers that had the name of another men's rights lawyer, and that's an important part of the story as well. This Hollander guy was a so-called men's rights activist. He absolutely despised women. He did not try to hide that at all. There are various interviews that he did on Fox News where he demonstrated his absolute disdain for women. And, he was upset at Judge Salas because he had written some pretty negative things about her online. At first, he referred to her as a hot Latina. Later, the case Den Hollander was involved in that she actually listened to. He was involved as co-counsel, and that ended up in Salas's courtroom. And it was filed in 2015 on behalf of the mother of a 17-year-old New Jersey girl. It argued that the Secret Service system's policy of barring females from registering for the draft while making it mandatory for males was illegal. What's interesting is that Judge Salas allowed that case to move forward. So she actually ruled in his favor in a way by allowing that case to move forward. And when he wrote about it, he said that the case was assigned to a hot Latina judge, but later he soured on her and said some pretty terrible things, including referring to her as lazy and incompetent.
Yeah, so some items in the news about this story have changed in the last 24 hours. So you should know an important piece of context is Salas has been assigned to the Deutsche Bank case that involves money laundering and Jeffrey Epstein. So when there was a shooting at her house, obviously a lot of eyebrows were raised, including mine. And then they talked about this guy who had shot himself, and they had him as the prime suspect. But it appeared at the time yesterday that she had just ruled in his favor, and it was back in 2015. So then I was skeptical about that fact pattern. But as it turns out today, they report that the case is still pending. So she did allow it to go forward, but the guy clearly has animosity towards her based on what he wrote online. So that's 2 very different fact patterns from yesterday. That's very relevant. Now, and also the guy that he was doing a lawsuit with also winds up dead. So that's another interesting fact pattern, right? So we have no idea if he did that. Now, at the same time, what I will say is they should check to see if his car drove down to New Jersey and drove back. And you could see that through the cameras and all the different traffic lights, et cetera, et cetera. And if he drove down to New Jersey, it is almost certainly him. If he didn't, then I'm back to it's curious, because he got killed on the passenger side of his car. That's unusual. But that's a small data point given his clear animosity towards her and etc. So, but I hope they keep an open mind. I hope they keep investigating this and not making any assumptions about who did it. But overall, by the way, the men's rights movement, here we go again. I mean, they start with men's rights as if like men are really the oppressed community in this country or in the world. And then they wind up with incredible vitriol towards women and at times physical attacks. When you sign up for a spend and save account at aspiration.com/TYT, we will plant 10 trees. Let's save the planet together.